Hey, what's going on, everyone? And welcome back to Big Discussions 76, Science and Technology. I have a few folks already watching me. Please smash that like button, and yeah, let me know who's here. I had another meeting this morning, and I intended to start earlier. That always seems to be the case. Something tends to push things back, but I guess such is life. Let me make an announcement over on my original channel, and then I will jump in. I don't intend to go for long. My brother's not going to join me this morning. He is taking care. I'll be discreet here. He's taking care of some family business. I think we need to be discreet about what we share in the YouTube streets. As you see fit as a content creator. So after the nameless protagonist intro, I'm going to jump right in. This is going to be a brief discussion about blank slate theory. For those of you who know me, for those of you who follow me over on my original Big Discussions 76 platform, because there are several, you know that I'm hosting a therapist tomorrow called named Jeff St. James. So I'm hosting Jeff St. James tomorrow at 3:30 on my original channel. And one of the questions I'm going to ask Jeff about is blank slate theory. So I'm going to ask Jeff about blank slate theory because he was the first one that I heard mention it. I'm sure it's been mentioned before by some other um, very knowledgeable people here in the circles we run in. But I think that's a question that, yeah, I'd like to unpack and talk about with him. So we're going to talk about that and some other things. But I thought this would make for a nice intro over here, and also to just spread the word over here as well. So let me share this. I see the crew is rolling in. Give me a second here. I'm almost done. Come on, Android. I can always update this later on. And for those of you who watched my a conversation with Dr. Ronald Neal last week, thank you for those of you who watched that. That one got a lot of support and a lot of traction over on my original channel. Okay, let me play the nameless protagonist intro, and then we'll talk about blank slate theory, and then I'll hop off and go for a bike ride on this beautiful fall day. I'll see you guys on the other side. Salute to UFO Kamikaze. I see you in numerous places. To Tony Aquateki, thank you for being here. Michael, and also Pragmatic Prime. All right. A word from the nameless protagonist regarding the mouse utopia experiments. So I'm thinking about what you're saying, and I think this is the significance of when you say the technology is running so far out ahead of the biology, right? Because it's almost shattering that part of our natural programming?
So what's going on, what that really talks to is the reason why it's done that way is our systems operate on a seniority-based modality. So the older the particular system we've adopted, the more powerful that neurological pathway and impulse. That's why these studies are critical. Everything in our biology is predicated on these kinds of principles. The reasons why we were able to evolve as a group, because there were certain things that we were able to lean on from the group aggregate existence that allows for us to do things as individuals that are defined as healthy. And when you begin to do wholesale swapping out on a one-for-one of social modality versus technological introduction, then you begin to atrophy a lot of these things and you start having deficiencies in ways you had no idea, or you get unintended emergent behavior, as we're seeing with the behavioral sinks, for example. It's all connected to social roles, in my subjective opinion.
Welcome to Big Discussions 76, Science and Technology. Science and technology stories are all around us, and there are always science and technology stories to tell.
I swear, guys, listening to Nameless break it down, it's like listening to a symphony orchestra when he gets to talking about the modality and the behavioral sinks and the you know our biology and it's like listening to a symphony orchestra. All right, a brief discussion on Blank Slate Theory. AB Media, I think I'm going to send you an email. I think we're in the group. I'm being discreet here, but I have a question about Windows 11 and my computer. It works just fine, but I keep getting the notices about Windows 11. I think it's running Windows 10, and I need to figure out if I need to take it somewhere and get it updated or just get an all new computer, or what's going to happen if I just keep using this unit. So I know you're very knowledgeable on such things. So I will probably, no, not probably, I will reach out to you soon because this is my life, my business, all takes place on this Hewlett Packard with the i5 seventh generation core processor. So yeah, look out for that. Anyway, this is Big Discussions 76 Science and Technology. Please like, share, and subscribe, whether or not you are watching live or if you are a part of the replay gang. If anybody wants to make a donation to the channel, you can do so using one of those methods there in the ticker. I just heard a noise back there. My resident food fighter slash Michigan slash Buffalo Bills troll is here. Of course, I troll him back. So it's all love. Peace, T Riddler. What's going on? Thank you for stopping through. Okay, AB. Okay, he says you probably need to upgrade. Okay, I'm not a computer expert, so that could either mean purchase a new unit or see an engineer to take this top off and put new processors in there. Whatever it is you guys do. But okay, I'll send you an email offline, and hopefully we can talk more about what that means, so I can come to a reasonable solution. See, I don't want to make this about Windows 11, but yes, AB, I've had this one. I got this one around 2018. But I have a unit that I had around 2012 and 2013 that I take to the coffee shop with me, and it still works just fine. So I journal on that computer. So we'll talk. Yeah, I'll hit you up. All right, blank slate theory. Blank slate theory. Okay. You guys know, most of you guys probably know that I'm hosting a therapist named Jeff St. James tomorrow from the Ask a Brother podcast on my original channel. For the people who don't know about my original channel, I've got several channels, but this is the logo for my original channel. It's called Big Discussions 76, and that's it. You'll see me looking dapper with a brown hat and a suede jacket in the thumbnail. But Jeff, when he burst on the scene and when he started going viral, he's a therapist. So he mentioned something, so he talks about relationships and gender, and a therapist has to know about things like uh, what Maslow's hierarchy. They have to know about things like blank slate theory. They have to know about things like nature versus nurture. Therapists have to know those things because they're helping people work through their personal problems. Now, a part of biology is understanding how species work. A part of it is understanding how a sexual species work together, how they reproduce, how they mate, when they reproduce, when they mate, why they mate, what the male gender is looking for, what the female gender is looking for. Okay, I think for primates, I mean, I think for was it baboons or chimpanzees, the males know when the female is ready to reproduce because I think her nipples turn pink. Don't quote me on that. What male impalas and deer and rams, they fight for dominance to see who's going to get access to the females and whose genes are going to get passed on. And so pretty much every sexual species has ways in which they mate and they reproduce. Okay, so that's known. Okay, that's known that when you have a sexual species, the genders uh, uh, have certain ways of behaving. And so, human beings are the only beings on the planet, are the only organisms on the planet who have I think primates have a prefrontal cortex, but can think about things, can ponder things. Uh, uh, Humans can plan things. Humans have we have an opposable thumb, right? We have technology. Okay, we have culture. So that's one of the things that's unique about humans. I can't find my food chain, so I'll use the peacock here as a visual. Okay, in my early biological trainings, zoology was a part of my early biological trainings at the undergraduate level at Johnson C. Smith University. Shout out to Marcus Williams. You never mentioned Johnson C. Smith University, only the University of Michigan. So shout out to JCSU. So I believe part of the life cycle of the peacock is that's a male peacock. Part of how they attract female mates is through throwing up those beautiful feathers. Okay, that's the sign for NBC and MSNBC. So we know that that's how sexual species have certain ways of being. Okay, and we as human beings, we have that added layer of culture. Okay, and forming societies and religions and politics, we have that added layer. But is there something biological? Is there something biological about how we as human beings in general relate to one another? And is there something biological about how the male gender and the female gender, about how we interact? Is there something biological about that? Okay, I've covered that to some degree, to varying degrees on this channel. And that the question came up years ago: why is Dr. Dunbar talking about freezing eggs? Well, that's a technology that's impacted now how the genders get along. Okay, that's impacted how the female side, that's impacted how and if they're gonna participate in the reproductive game. So a lot of the topics I talk about here are germane to culture and society. Freezing eggs, um, We talked about Rose Sparks and hymns. Okay, and today it's not just about reproducing; it's also about performance. We've talked about so many things here, and this is one of them. So, blank slate theory, blank slate theory. Uh, what inspired me to do this live stream was in part what we've already covered. We've already covered that for males, there is a SRY gene. Okay. And so, regardless of whether or not you do hormonal therapy, the underlying molecular biology is still there. Okay. And what happens is that regardless, okay, this goes back to what you believe, regardless of what you are on the outside, and you guys let me know what you think there in the chat, regardless of what you are and what you identify as on the outside, okay, your your gender from a molecular perspective, okay, is determined once sperm joins egg. I'm looking for a slide here. Give me a second. Please smash that like button if you haven't. All right. So you get 23 chromosomes from your mother, you get 23 chromosomes from your father, okay? And all of that information from a molecular perspective is in you at conception. Okay, regardless of whether or not you go through hormonal therapy, regardless of whether or not you put lipstick on like a woman, regardless of whether or not you cut your hair off and remove your breasts and take on a more masculine disposition, regardless of that, your underlying genetic material is there. Okay, and we know that for men, the XY, on the Y, there is the SRY gene. Okay, and that dictates biologically how your body grows and differentiates into being a male versus having a second X chromosome, which dictates how your body grows and differentiates into being a female. Okay, that's been known, that's been studied. Okay, up until a certain point, that was accepted, and then we got to a point where we started hearing about gender being a social construct, and males could be, anyone could choose to be a male. Anyone with a uterus could have a baby. We started that. Then we, at some point, we got to this relative place where it's what I decide. It's what I feel like I am. It's what I'm told I could be, and it's what I feel like from day to day. But we got to this place where anyone with a uterus could have a baby. You guys knew that it was coming, so here we go. Thank you to the Revolt Network and Lene, whatever her name is.
Oh, okay.
Only women can have babies. I just want to let you know that.
Interesting. There are other people who can have babies.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if they have a uterus, they can have babies, but they just might
Right.
not identify as women.
Okay.
Those are two different things. Like you can be biologically female, but you can't be biologically woman. Woman is a gender construct, a
Okay.
social construct. But if you got a uterus, yeah, you can have a baby.
Yes, that's the point. If you have a uterus, you can have a baby.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we agree on that.
Shout out to Jess Hilarious for pushing back on that. This is why, in part, the Ketanji Brown Jackson, what is a woman thing? Can you say what a woman is? That's why that was significant. A lot of people saw that as them just trying to keep her out of the Supreme Court. But this also goes back to what's the society going to look like 10 years from now? Who's going to be running it? Is it going to be the anti-natalist? Is it going to be the feminist? Is it going to be the climate alarmist? Is it going to be the climate skeptics? Is it going to be the Christian right? Is it going to be the atheist? Who's going to run society? And what's society going to look like? I think that was in part what was involved in that whole Ketanji Brown Jackson confirmation thing. But let me zoom in so I can wrap the stream up and go out for my bike ride. Those of you who've been with me, you guys know that I highly respect Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson, and I, may meet him, one day. You never know. I might become a big time science content creator, but Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson is not just a scientist, but also he's now a pop culture and a societal talking head on all things. So he's branched out from astronomy and astrophysics, which is what he is most known for. And now, long ago, Dr. Tyson, respectfully, Dr. Tyson started weighing in on gender and transgenderism and whether or not transitioned males should be able to compete with biological females in MMA or swimming or volleyball or whatever. And I looked at that. I don't know how you guys looked at that, but respectfully, I looked at that and I said, Dr. Tyson, what are you talking about? What are you doing? This is not your field of expertise, number one. And are you ultimately helping by taking these positions, Dr. Tyson, or are you ultimately hurting society? Okay. Yeah, Tony says, well, let me get to T. Riddler's comment first. T. Riddler says, the chromosome you showed looks like an X chromosome. Can you please show me the example of a Y chromosome? So, T. Riddler, so you're pulling my molecular biology card. Give me a second here. Tony says, I've read some of his books. He is very intelligent. Yes, I have one here as well. He used to be a wrestler, which is ironic since that's a sport, at least MMA, which is at the center of the whole should transitioned young men be able to compete with biological young women or biological women. That's one of the sports that's at the heart of that. And Tony says Starry Messenger was a very good book. Okay, so T. Riddler asked, the chromosome that the chromosome you showed looks like an X chromosome. Can you please show me an example of a Y chromosome? So, okay, so T. Riddler, and this is a disclaimer here for someone who's going to come and poke holes in this presentation. I have not taken my molecular biology coursework in a while. As a scientist, you have to continue retraining your brain over and over and over again. You might have been referring to this visual, T. Riddler. So that is the general structure of your chromosomes, okay? And the genes are located on the chromosomes. So all of your chromosomes have that structure, but it's the genes on the chromosomes that dictate the proteins that your body creates and things like your eye color, your hair color, your skin color, and your gender. So in this particular visual here, that SRY gene is on that chromosome. So they all look like X's, T. Riddler, but it is what's on those X's in terms of genetic material that dictates your phenotype. All right. Was that clear, everyone? Was that clear? Let me hydrate here for a moment. All right. T. Riddler says thank you. So T. Riddler is pleased. He got his answer. If you ever see me drinking out of this flask, this is from AAAS. I joined at one point. I haven't renewed. The American Association for the Advancement of Science. So this AAAS is a science communication professional society. All right. So Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson, an astrophysicist, or a very famous astrophysicist and astronomer, he took that position. Don't worry about what someone's transitioning into. It's none of your business. Why are you policing someone else's gender? And also, transitioned people should be able to compete with non-transitioned people in athletics. Okay, something to that effect. So I made a video. I made content questioning that, questioning his saying that, questioning the logic in that, and respectfully disagreeing with him on that. And then something interesting happened this week, and I'm close to the end of the stream. I don't intend to go long. One of the most fascinating things about YouTube is when you make something, YouTube leaves it up. Fortunately, they leave it up, and someone finds it maybe a month, a year, 2 years, 3 years later, and they react to it. So I forgot. I've created so much content, I forgot that I made this one. But I did see a comment on my science channel this week, which helped inspire this stream. And I'm going to read it to you all. Okay. And you guys give me your reaction to this. And then I'm going to wrap the stream up shortly. But before that, we're going to take a look at what blank slate theory actually is. Okay. A quick and dirty definition of it. All right. So let me enable my screen share. I think it's this one. Yep. Okay. Okay. You know what? Let me see if I can make this bigger for you guys. So that, because there's a lot there on that screen. Give me a second. All right. So this is underneath. If you guys want to respectfully engage with this comment, you're welcome to do so, but do it respectfully. I haven't responded yet. I was thinking about what I would say to this person, but this is underneath the video. A little bit more on Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson, endocrinology, and which genders should compete. Okay. And if you haven't watched that one, please give it a like. This is from Simple Sin Gluten. So this person obviously has a concern with gluten. Maybe I'll cover that on the channel at some point. But Simple Sin Gluten says, "Hi, this is very interesting. I have always had this thought, maybe a hypothesis, that if human females had evolved under different conditions of more social equality with males, maybe we would not be so different in terms of sports performance. Okay. And at this point in our evolution, we, parentheses, full disclosure, I am born female, could start striving to match males and not stay in our own separate lane. It is still a long evolutionary road ahead, but we must start somewhere. Maybe more co-ed sports." Okay, I'm going to read that again. Okay, you guys let me know what you think. "Hi, this is very interesting. I have always thought, maybe a hypothesis, that if human females had evolved under different conditions of more social equality with males, maybe we would not be so different in terms of sports performance. And at this point in our evolution, we, parentheses, full disclosure, I am a born female, could start striving to match males and not stay in our own separate lane. It is still a long evolutionary road ahead, but we must start somewhere. Maybe more co-ed sports. Okay. So I did not respond to that comment yet. Okay. And keeping it respectful, I would probably say something like, well, that depends upon what you believe, and it depends upon your core beliefs. But then the at least to the question, at least to more questions, why is there a need to match males? Why is there a need to be like men? What's wrong with being a woman? What's wrong with being what females are and what females were? What's wrong with that? Okay, that stands out to me. Matching males. Why do you have to match males? Okay, and not stay in our own separate lane. Okay, so that leads to the question in my mind: what's wrong with staying in your own separate lane? Are males and females, boys and girls, men and women, are we meant to be in the same lanes? Okay. Are we supposed to be in the same lanes? Okay. And then, okay, it is still a long evolutionary road ahead, but we must start somewhere, maybe more co-ed sports. Okay. So guys, do you want, I mean, you hear stories about after work, at least here in DC, folks going out on the National Mall playing pickleball or playing softball, men and women playing together. You have, and you have girls more so now than ever wanting to play basketball with the boys. Okay, the goal always seems to be with the boys, to do what the boys are doing. What about football? Do you want women out there playing tackle football with biological men, biological boys? Okay. Do you want pro female basketball players playing basketball with professional grown men? Okay. Do you want female soccer players playing soccer with boys and men? Okay. And then going back, are we supposed to be in the same lane in the first place? Is that what we were intended to do? So if you notice another key buzzword that this person used, that she used, because she said she's a female, she kept using evolution, 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 evolution. Okay. So what evolution is, from a Darwinian perspective, it's selecting for certain genes. Okay, and those genes tend to go on into the future. Okay, so, and it's environmentally based. From a classic Darwinian perspective, evolution is environmentally based. So the environment selects for certain things. Okay, so what she's getting at, this commenter is getting at, is society selecting for certain things. Okay, and I think the thing that we're running into now, which Jeff and others, Jeff is by far not the only one, but what we're running into now is whether or not our genders, whether or not, aside from the actual childbirth and our sexual organs and gametes, is there something biological more inherently biological about sex and gender? Okay, and can you just discard these things and evolve your way out of these things? Okay, can you do that? Can you undo? Can you overcome thousands and maybe millions of years of biology? I'm saying that based upon your beliefs and how long you think human beings go back. But can you undo that societally? Okay, is that possible? I'm going to read some comments here. Thank you guys for the comments. We're gonna go over blank slate theory, and then I'll wrap the stream up. Passport OG says, so social equality equals I think I can beat Mike Tyson. AB Media says, salute Passport OG and good luck with that one. AB says, nope, we need to stay in our own lanes. Passport OG says, Angel Reese guarding LeBron. Okay, salute back to AB Media. And then Aquateki says, I don't want to hear the women complaining about unfair advantage when things don't go their way after they get what they supposedly want. Okay. And then AB Media says she would be too worried about breaking a nail. Okay, so that's at Angel Reese. Okay, so but I think what this particular commenter is getting at also, I think there's a hint of some blank slate theory in there. We can just reshape what we are. We can reshape who we are with enough social engineering and enough altering of our social and cultural laws and norms and constructs. Okay, it's all gender is all external, it's all relative, and it is a societal construct. All right, so let me pull up this definition, a crude definition of blank slate theory. I'm going to ask Jeff St. James about this tomorrow, and I'm sure there are whole videos and whole textbook chapters just on blank slate theory. But okay, this is short, guys. I'm going to read this. You guys keep letting me know what you think in the chat there. Thank you for being here, Trent5. I'm not familiar with you, but thank you for being here. It looks like you know some of the other guys. All right. So the blank slate theory, or tabula rasa, is a philosophical concept popularized by John Locke that suggests individuals are born without innate knowledge or inherent traits. It posits that the mind is a clean slate at birth, and all knowledgeable ideas and personality are the result of sensory experiences, learning, and environment. This perspective heavily emphasizes nurture over nature and is a cornerstone of empiricism. That's an interesting thought right there. I don't know. A quick anecdotal story here. Certainly for the boomer generation, there were more siblings. You guys have probably seen this in your families as well. My mother has let's see, she has a lot of brothers and sisters. I think 8, 9, 10 brothers and sisters, something like that. It's Saturday morning, so they were raised under the same culture. They were raised by the same set of parents. They all went to church. They all received the same teachings, but they all turned out differently. So if this is true, if this theory is true, then in theory, they should have all turned out relatively similar, relatively in the same ballpark in terms of temperament, in terms of personality, in terms of spirit, in terms of personal values. But how is it that they all, you're talking 8 to 10 people here, how is it that they all were raised uh, under the same roof and they all turned out differently? How is it that me and my brother, you guys see me and my brother here on the stream, we were raised by the same mother for the most part. We have the same father, but we're different. So how do you account for that? That we didn't turn out exactly the same. Could it be that there's something unique, not only genetically about each of us, but also in terms of our spirit and our life essences? Okay, I think that innately we're all different. Okay, in terms of our the spirits that inhabit these bodies, that might not be scientific there, but I think you guys are picking up what I'm putting down. Okay, let me read these 4 bullets here. And I was about to say something else, and I forgot what it was. Oh, and then in terms of masculine and feminine characteristics, how much of that is in our genes and in our DNA? How much of that is dictated by the hormones we produce? Okay, naturally. Why do you have to transition to be someone else, to be another gender? Why do you have to suppress certain hormones and inject others? Okay, just some food for thought there. T. Riddler says, a baby is born with no state of mind, blind to the ways of mankind. Okay, yeah. See, I said, okay. He took that from a rap record. All right. Origin and meaning. The term tabula rasa is Latin for scraped tablet, referencing the practice of writing on a wax tablet that could be erased to be used again. John Locke used this analogy in the 17th century to argue that the human mind is empty at birth and is filled through sensory experiences. Now, I do agree with that. I do agree that our environments shape us. Yeah, the family you're born into, that matters. The nutrition you get, that matters. The spiritual beliefs you're taught, that matters. The discipline you get, that matters. I do believe the environment plays a role, and that's something that we talk about a lot here on my platforms and also in the YouTube streets in general. The environment matters. You change the environment, you're going to change a lot of things and outcomes in particular. Core principle. The theory states that all knowledge comes from sensory experiences, what we see, hear, touch, taste, and smell. A person's understanding of concepts like tree is built through repeatedly encountering them and gathering sensory information. Implications. The blank slate theory suggests that human potential is not predetermined by biology, but rather shaped by the environment and upbringing. This has had a significant impact on modern education and psychology, highlighting the importance of interaction and experience in a child's development. Contemporary view. While influential, the theory is now debated in light of modern science. Cognitive, neural, and genetic sciences have challenged the idea of a completely blank slate, suggesting that there is an innate biological component that influences the mind and behavior. Okay, so guys, that's a quick and dirty explanation of blank slate theory and what it is. Okay, and this is going to come up tomorrow in my discussion with Jeff St. James, and I think in his context, it's going to involve gender roles. Okay, what is the consequence of destroying the gender roles? Was there a usefulness to gender roles, or can you just socialize those gender roles out of men and women? All right. I'm thinking about, in terms of society and culture, why is it that, shout out to a content creator named Mr. Z and his reckless streams. Why is it that women who make more money, and over the last 30 years, women have been empowered to be the quote unquote breadwinner? Why is it that there's still an aversion to being the breadwinner and having a more domesticated husband who's willing to stay home, a more domesticated man who's willing to stay home and do the motherly duties, the classically motherly duties? Why is there still an aversion to that? Why is it a turnoff when those roles are flipped? Okay. Why is there a need to have a man who makes more, equal or more, preferably more? Is there something, even though there was a culturing and a socializing to be the breadwinner and to make more and to be up with men in the workplace and the C-suites in particular, why is there still an aversion for taking care of being the breadwinner and taking care of a man, of a family, with a man who's willing to do the more uh, motherly, classically motherly duties? Is there something biological there that disgusts a woman regarding being the breadwinner, quote unquote, and seeing a man fall into those roles, cooking, cleaning, taking kids to school, spending more time with the kids? Is there something biological that disgusts, that's off-putting about that? If we're blank slates, you should be able to just swap the roles and then that's it. But that's not what we're seeing. Okay. So guys, I'm going to, well, also before I wrap up, also I talked about how sexual species mate and relate and reproduce. Why is it that there's trouble having to approach and having to make the first move on the female side when it's, in large part, that's something men have done. It's something that men do. But why is there an aversion to here swapping the roles so that the other part is now approaching and making the first move versus the other part being the receiver of that attention and those inquiries? Is that biological? Is that sociological? Is that cultural? Okay, and why can't you just swap the roles? Ant Dog says it's in a man's DNA to go out and get it, not these new sprinkle men. I'm the breadwinner, but I enjoy my time with my kids, baths, walks, learning, etc. Thank you for that, Ant Dog. All right, does anyone else have anything on this? Does anyone else have any thoughts on this? What time is it? It's 11:38. I started late. Does anyone else have anything on this topic? I'll tell you what. I will drop the link. I can only hang out for another 10 or 15 more minutes, but we can round this out to an hour. If anyone wants to come and say something, if not, I will conclude. That's a very scientific question, T. Riddler. Well, actually, it is. That's a good question, T. Riddler. My intention, as my father says, is to go out for a bike ride get my personal health and fitness on. And then after I bike ride, I usually go to a restaurant called Sweet Green. Here in DC, we have a chain called Sweet Green that makes salads. So that's going to be I'll have a banana and part of a protein bar before I go on my bike ride. And then after the bike ride, I'll probably go to Sweet Green and get a salad, the guacamole greens. It has salad, lettuce, avocado, chicken, red cabbage, and a sauce. So Sweet Green. AB Media, what's going on?
What's going on, dog? It's been a while.
Yes. It's been a busy 2 months.
Mm-hmm. Interesting topic. That was a great talk with Dr. Neil. I'm probably going to have to cover it eventually.
Okay, yeah, please do. Please do. I'm going to get a copy of the Man Not because
Tommy Curry?
Yeah. The audience seems to enjoy the men's content, but it's a logical follow-up to Dr. Johnson and Dr. Neal's book. So
yeah, as far as the topic, women are going to, I'm going to be nicely on here, they're going to FA and FO about equality.
Yeah.
And because I can tell you, a lot of them, they're not ready to do software programming. You have to have a really logical mind state to do that kind of stuff. And the AI, writing models for AI,
Mm-hmm.
to properly do that stuff, it takes a certain mind state. You can't be in your feelings.
Okay. Does that mean that, for example, that's very calculus intensive, or writing code and cloud engineering, that's not my field, but
Okay.
does that mean you literally have to have an aptitude for writing code?
Yeah, it's calculus focused in the mind state that sometimes you need to create a solution that may not be necessarily there.
Okay.
That's what calculus is basically there for, is to find a solution for an equation that hasn't been made yet. Using pre-made what you already know.
Okay.
So yeah, it's kind of a problem solving kind of thing, and once again, you can't be your feelings because that compiler does not care about your feelings.
Right.
If you don't type it a certain way, you don't be specific, and you have to keep in mind the only thing the computer really understands is binary, zeros and ones. You literally have to tell it. You have to tell it what you want it to do. Otherwise, it's not going to figure it out for you. And that's part of the issue with AI. It's very helpful, and it speeds up your workflow, but it's not going to write a program for you, at least not yet.
Okay.
It can recognize your patterns and help you write it properly, but it's not there. It's not going to be replacing software developers or artists as far as that's concerned, because a lot of the AI a lot of artists are just using the AI tools to enhance the art that they're already doing. At least the smart ones. We actually use the AI makes it our jobs a lot easier. Stuff that would have took 2 or 3 hours, we can now do in about 30 minutes. And it really speeds up the process of prototyping and doing all that kind of stuff.
Okay. Clark S. StreamYard is saying your device is not connected. So I'll hang on for just a little bit longer. I have a comment here. I want to share with AB Media. So it's saying your device is not connected. Ant Dog says in all caps, that's my realm. All you need to do is know how to read and of course have the skill set. I make my living in data and AI. Thank you for sharing that, Ant Dog. So
there's a lot of reading you have to do.
Okay. I was thinking, AB, before this, this topic has so many political implications. You regularly share and create discourse on politics. This was a part of the last election. I mean, people want to talk about they didn't want a black woman as president. I'm sure there were voters out there who didn't want that, but also the last administration was very friendly to blank slate theory.
Yes.
They were not averse to the sharing of bathrooms, and they weren't averse to. They didn't take a strong stance on the transitioned female athletes competing with biological females.
Yeah, that was insane to me.
People got tired of that. They were that's another. This has all sorts of implications. Go ahead.
You want to hear the irony though?
Go ahead.
My issue with Kamala Harris has nothing to do with her quote unquote being a black woman. It was the fact that she wasn't qualified or fit to be president. I tried to give her a chance. I watched her interviews with an unbiased, as biased as I could, but she couldn't handle a softball interview. But I'm supposed to make this lady the leader of my country? You can't handle a softball interview, but you're going to negotiate with Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin?
Okay.
Seriously, but go ahead. Uh-oh. He froze up. What's that mean? It's not me. Okay. And he's still live, so we'll be back in a minute, folks. What's going on, Clark? Okay. Oh, okay. You want to say something, Clark? Yes? It might be a little while before he comes back up. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, my internet just had a hiccup. So
never fun.
All right. Well, before something else happens, okay. So we have a private message from Clark. Clark, my internet. I don't know if that was impacting the studio. AB was still talking when I looked at my phone.
Oh, come back up. You were on mute.
Yeah, you were before my internet hiccup. You were muted. So come back one more time.
Yeah, that's the only reason we couldn't hear you.
Yeah. But my last comment was, okay, so we talked about the political implications and then gender roles. Yeah, okay. Clark, your mic is muted.
There you go.
All right, how about now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Perfect. Hey, good morning, gentlemen. How you guys doing?
Good, how are you?
Good to be back on the show. Dr. Dunbar, thanks for hosting me. Thanks for posting. Love the topics per usual. On the scientific topic, something that came to mind in listening, you talked about just wanted to posit my own little thoughts and opinion. Was it, you said Locke, I believe it was Locke who came up with the initial idea. Is that correct? Blank Blank Slate?
Well, this is attributed to him.
It's
Let
attributed.
me. I still have it. I still have the tab open.
But while you're looking, yeah, just the concept to me, it sounds like the original idea was, right? A baby is totally a blank slate, and they're interactive for sensory experiences with their environment, people, etc. Is how they, I guess, their mind, their personality, or whatever gets filled. And then we're seeing more recent scientific knowledge, which all I wanted to say, it makes very much sense to me, proposes that there are some biological things, or not biological, excuse me, but there are some aspects that are now kind of imprinted on that child, understandably, post birth. And that would seem to me like, to what extent, I guess Locke probably didn't take into extent, or maybe he did. Experience. I'm thinking about experiences that the child has while in the womb. So,
Okay.
my question to you, Dr. Dunbar, like a child in the womb, can that child hear? Up to a certain developmental extent, can that child hear? I imagine the child can feel, right? That's a sensory experience. If the
Yeah.
mother or someone external is rubbing that mother's stomach, if there's music playing, certain vibrations, of course, we know what the mother eats. So I'm just thinking in the womb experience prior to birth, there has to be a degree of sensory experiences that are taking place that are being imprinted on that child pre-birth of the child, let alone
Well,
sensory. The scientific data, and I'll wrap up on this. They're even saying that even outside of that, or outside of, excuse me, prior to those experiences in the womb, there seems to be still a genetic transfer of things that a child is being imprinted with beyond just the biological, physical aspects. Is that correct? Incorrect? What are your thoughts?
well, that's a good point. A couple of things. So I'm sure you guys have heard that there are behaviors that start to surface naturally that are similar to those of both your folks. Okay, so I think that there is something that gets passed on there. I think what you spoke to about the baby being in the womb, you know, we know the baby's moving around. At some point it becomes fully functional. I think the lungs. I was reading this week that the lungs develop last, but the brain, the sensory organs, a lot of those things are functional beyond a certain point in the trimester. But also they say that it's important for the mother to start reading even when the baby's in the womb. Start reading to the baby.
I do believe that the baby can hear you. May not necessarily understand you, but your presence is felt whenever you're talking to him too.
Okay. So Clark, yeah, there are things pre-birth that are happening to the child.
There's a sensor, I'm going to use this phrase. There's a sensory absorption by that child that's taking place. But then there also seems to be, or is being suggested by the scientific community, that there's some type of behavioral attributes that are being transferred via these chromosomes. Is that what was being communicated earlier in the stream? That's what I wanted to get clarity on.
Yes, I communicated that it's known and accepted that you receive 26 from 23 from each parent, and then the question is, what is on those chromosomes beyond the genetic blueprint for
Perfect. That makes sense. Beyond just the phenotype and the sex, the sex of the child, or there's additional things that are getting transferred. That makes very much clear sense to me. And I would believe that. And I'll be curious to see where future scientific research goes in discovering some of those additional things that are getting transferred.
Yeah, I don't, and this is Nameless is and BGS, they're the main torch bearers of this, but how our biology and culture and socialization, how are all of those things working together?
Right.
I don't think the people running the society, I don't think they completely understand that. And I don't think they understand how I don't think they completely understand that.
Yeah, it's very much fascinating though. I mean, I'm thinking, what if a mother has, for example, a diet that's heavy in garlic due to her cultural cuisine? Okay, and now that child is getting a portion of that. How does that translate to the child in terms of the food that a mother is eating that may lean more in sodium? We know as African Americans, for example, higher in sodium and potential sodium, maybe it's more increased levels of sodium resistance, or all these different things, right, that can take place. To me, I'm just fascinated by this whole world of discovery and research that exists in this area. And as I said, I'll close again on this and just saying I'm very much curious and looking forward to future discoveries in this area.
Okay. I think I think that was my last response to what you had asked and said. So I don't think I have anything else.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you guys have anything else?
Not necessarily.
Okay. Well, before we go, we'll play the Revolt lady. We'll play her drop, and I'll let you guys respond and react to it. But I think the interesting thing is about that commenter is, she said several things in her comment. The evolution that stood out to me. Women coming into men's spaces, and then that's the other thing socially, is that a healthy thing, having women continuously in men's spaces in the same lanes? Is that a good thing for all of us? I don't know that it is. And then it seemed like that commenter she's in favor of more occupying the same lane. So I don't know that's good for everybody. Let's see. Here it is.
Oh, okay.
Only women can have babies. I just want to let you know that.
Interesting. There are other people who can have babies.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if they have a uterus, they can have babies, but they just might
Right.
not identify as women.
Okay.
Those are two different things. Like, you can be biologically female, but you can't be biologically woman. Woman is a gender construct, a social construct. But if you got a uterus, yeah, you can have a baby.
Yes, that's the point. If you have a uterus, you can have a baby.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we agree on that.
You guys want to give some reaction to that?
Delusion at its finest.
Yeah. How about you, Clark?
No comment.
Okay, that was from the Breakfast Club. That was just hilarious.
Oh, so another reason not to take them seriously. Okay.
Well, hold on. No. Oh, just hilarious. She was the one who pushed back, because just hilarious was not in favor of that.
Mm-hmm.
So the host.
Oh, that's right. I remember that now. Yeah.
It's Lene.
But I was referring to the idea that anybody has a uterus can have a baby. Is linked to the you have to have what I'm hoping I'm getting this right, the Y chromosome to have that baby.
Yeah, for a male, for a biological male.
I mean, X chromosome to have a baby. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
X chromosome. My bad.
Yeah. This is the lady right here, Lene Vinay. Okay. If you guys want to watch that entire interaction, it was between those two. Trent says there would be a cost to men. I think how should go in there. There would be a cost to how men view women as same threat level as men. Imagine the scenario from Titanic where it was instead everyone for themselves. That's right. That's right. If you flatten everything and make everybody the same.
Oh, women do not want that. Because
no.
a lot of them run their mouth way too much. They do not want that.
No, they don't. Let's see. Money Motion. Thank you for my Gmail is updating slowly. Okay, I think I know what happened here. Hold on. Let me went to my other email. Okay. Money Motion, thank you for the generous $20 Cash App. Yeah. So appreciate that. So guys, for I mean, it all ends up in the same place, but I have a business Cash App, which is the one here in the ticker. Then it's a personal without the 76. Either way, I'm grateful, but just FYI, it all goes to the same place. It's like food. Okay, gentlemen, do you have anything else?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
No further comments. Yeah. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it. I look forward to the next show.
All right. So
thanks for having me, and I'll be on later around 10:30 p.m. Eastern time.
Okay, sounds good. All right, everyone. That is a brief intro to Blank Slate Theory. Again, for those of you who don't know, I have an original channel. This channel is a spinoff from that one, and tomorrow I will be hosting Jeff St. James, the ascending therapist, over on my original channel, or at 3:30. It will be at 3:30, and we are going to talk about blank slate theory and therapy, and whether or not the Black community can be saved. And as much as we can cram into that hour and a half, me and Jeff are going to talk about it. So if you're unfamiliar with my original channel, it's just Big Discussions 76 and then nothing else. It's just that, and you'll see me in a brown hat and a brown. Brown suede jacket. Purchasing your copy. Okay, hopefully this doesn't happen tomorrow at 3:30 over on my original channel. Hold on. Hopefully this doesn't happen tomorrow at 3:30 over on my original channel. All right. So thank you, Money Motion, for purchasing your copy over the summertime. I have a book. I am a self-published author. The holiday season is coming up, so all consider getting yourself a copy of The Engineers of Western New York Basketball Story Part 1, Innocent Basketball Dreams. It's a basketball story based on my life and other kids in Western New York, but it's a story about the environment, changing environments, and trying to figure things out as a young boy without all of the tools you need in your toolbox. So for my YouTube subs, I will, $22. I'll charge $22 for the paperback, and $27 for the hardcover. Those prices are much more on Amazon. The ebook is over there. I don't sell the ebook from here. If you want to potentially use plastic, I have my own online store here. And if you reach out to me, I can create a coupon code. If you express interest, I can create a coupon code for you to discount the price. The shipping is built into those prices on my store. This is the price on Amazon, $35. This is the price on Amazon for the paperback, $27, $35 for the hardcover. I will sign this. Again, if you want a coupon code, I can create one for you to bring the price down and discount it. All right, so my online store, the link is here, and I am about to run. So thank you for those of you who watched. Maybe I will see some of you tomorrow. Money Motion, thank you again for the generous Cash App. That's always much appreciated. Perhaps it's time to make a drop for you, like the one I made for Aquatechie. All right, everybody, enjoy the rest of your Saturday. If you're on the replay, gang, let me know what you think in the comment section below. As always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Always try to do your best. Take care, and I will talk to you the next time. And ask questions. Don't just take everything that society and culture is telling you, and continue to be curious and ask questions. Take care, and I will talk to you the next time. Bye-bye.